Good morning, beautiful people. Today I'm here with Darius and me. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lashkar, and we're doing a podcast assignment for our beloved teacher, Mr. Nafan. Today we have here, who's your name, sir?
My name is Farel Pujar Mahmoudi.
And what did you do?
I was still to come here as a participant for the World Scholars Cup global round in Dubai.
All right. There you have it, folks. This guy is an expert at debating, so don't try to get in an argument with him.
Alright, so the first question we want to ask today is, how did you get yourself into this position?
So the first thing I did before this was I joined the World Scholars Cup in the Jakarta intro round back in 2019. Then right after that, I originally did not qualify actually for the global round, but after my friends gave me an open spot, I decided to join with them, and there I was in the global round in Dubai.
What can you tell us about your experience during the competition?
During that competition, there were around four different kinds of competitions. There was the collaborative writing, there was the Scholars Bowl, there was the team debate itself, and also the Scholars Challenge. For the team debate, it's pretty rhetorical. It was just debating. The Scholars Challenge was individual testing. It was like a written test, but for the Scholars Bowl, it's just like Scholars Challenge, but this time it was with the team. Then for collaborative writing, it's also pretty rhetorical. It's just essay writing along with my teammates.
Did you guys have like a personal coach or something?
Our coach was actually wasn't really a professional coach. It was more like an amateur coach. She was a participant of the TOC, Tournament of Champions, and she's actually just 1 year older than us.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. So it's like a senior to you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, wait. Can I ask about your teammates? Like, how did they perform in the debates and stuff?
Well, obviously, I wouldn't want to join them if I didn't know their capabilities. So I went in, and obviously I saw that they were really good. They had potential, and I decided to come in and contribute with them too. So like, it was pretty even with me.
Did you feel any pressure when you first started joining the competition?
Regarding pressure, it was partial because there were a lot of foreigners there. I felt there should be competition there, but I also had a bit of experience and parliament debating. So when I was there, I had a pretty good confidence in myself. But then when I started to go there, I started to compete. The pressure slowly went down because you really get used to the atmosphere there.
Speaking of meeting foreigners, did you notice any kind of difference in the way they handle their things, like how they train or how they perform?
Yeah, so from the foreign countries there, most of them, there were like a bunch of teams from one school.
Yeah.
Then they were like coached by this one coach too. So like different from us, from Indonesia, where we just had like a bunch of people from different schools turn into teams and we practice on our own. While other countries, they were just like one school brings out a lot of teams and they're coached by one figure. Obviously, it was very different in the way we practiced to come here, and also it was very different in how we like dealt with things there. But like overall, I gotta say, it was kind of a culture shock seeing the difference of preparation for the competition.
Wait, let me think of a question.
Okay.
Alright. You don't have to edit it out. It's all natural, right?
Okay.
So you went to Dubai, right? You went with a plane, right?
Yeah.
Alright. You stayed in a hotel. Did that hotel increase your level of debating?
Well, not really. But like during my stay there, we did we did spend a little time studying on the curriculum together. And like yes, there is a certain curriculum for every year there. So.
Also, just like bonding your relationship with the teammates, does that help in the
100%. If I didn't have a great relationship with them, I wouldn't be able to lead them in case building. Because if I were to be honest, most of the time during the debates, I would be leading them. I would be showing them the answers to the motions. I would tell them what to say and this and that. But if I weren't friends with them, if I weren't close to them, it would definitely be a big obstacle for me.
Was there any hardships regarding the facilities when you first entered the competition, like payments? Not just you, but also your teammates as well.
Well, obviously, money was a big factor. Knowing that we were going to another country and it was the first, let's say, trip outside of the country after like 2 years, we might have like used much of our savings there. But other than the factor of finance, the other hardship was, I gotta say, time, because the Dubai round was very, it was very like.
It's fine. You can take it.
Like it took like 2 or like a month of preparation, and not to mention I haven't studied the curriculum after 2 years, so like of course the preparation was kind of hard, knowing that there wasn't much time and I still had school to do, but then I also had to study a bit for this. And aside from that, the only thing I had prepared honestly was just the debating part, and I mostly debate out of the curriculum side.
Wait, so did you like skip a couple of classes while preparing?
Oh, no. That time, school was online,
Oh, right.
right? And come on, none of us actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. Also, when you're like debating and sometimes you just went blank, do you like improvise from there, or do you use an aspect of improvising in your debate?
Well, yeah, obviously I do. But like, I feel like everyone's ability in improvising is different. Knowing that I had experience beforehand on parliament debating, that really helped me a lot. Improvising was something normal to me, so going blank and all was fine because I just had to rely on my experience there.
Since this was during the pandemic, was it?
Yeah.
Did you see any difference with the way how Dubai handled the COVID, or in comparison to how Indonesia handled it?
Right. So, arriving in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, there was a big difference in, we could say, arrival. When I arrived there, they separated countries for countries that had to take the PCR test again and countries which didn't. I transited from Singapore, and Singapore wasn't a country which required PCR, but a country like, if I was mistaken, France and Africa, countries from Africa were told to take PCR tests. So like, from there it was quite obvious that they didn't really take the COVID protocol as strict as Indonesia, and we're in Indonesia. When we arrive, we take PCR tests right away, and we're only allowed to quarantine, and we're only allowed to like take certain names of hotels to stay in. Aside from that, I could say a majority of them did not use masks. I spent time in the Dubai Mall, and most of them were maskless, and it was very crowded there. Like, if you were to like, let's say, compare Dubai Mall and Pondok Indah Mall, I swear Dubai Mall is twice as big, but also 3 times as crowded. And none of them were using masks. Everyone was like, let's say, you could say they were coughing without noticing anyone around them. But at the same time, it was like, honestly, it was just like kind of scary, especially knowing that you're from Indonesia, where it's like pretty strict, all the way to Dubai, where no one uses masks, and in crowded places. So like,
But you didn't like get corona after, right?
oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, after arriving in Indonesia, that was the time where the Omicron variant was there, and apparently we had to quarantine for 10 days. That was longer than my trip in Dubai. So like, yeah, I did not contract the virus thing. I had
This country's packed full of diseases.
I mean, we're in a tropical country.
Yeah. Wait, so how long did you stay in Dubai for?
I think it was around a week, 9 days. I think the competition was 4 days, and we had a few days other for like general holiday vacation.
Well, was the competition like in brackets or?
So the competition had a very peculiar system. Most of them were on the system of grading, and you couldn't say that there was any winner or loser, but there was this thing called gold medals, silver medals, and trophies. I had a few accolades there. I got, I think, 4 silver medals, 3 gold medals, and 1 silver trophy. And I gotta say, just that was that allowed me to qualify for TOC, which I did not participate in last month. Like I gotta say again, there isn't really any winners, there isn't any losers. It's just about how much medals or trophies
Right.
you win. Yeah.
Wait, okay, so with these medals and trophies, did the school keep it or did you hold it to yourself?
I kept it to myself.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
So it's not like basket.
I mean, like, yeah, any sports, they just
Yeah.
like keep it there, right?
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, was there ever like a language barrier in Dubai?
Language barrier? No. I think particularly in Dubai, there are a lot of immigrants. Anywhere there, the workers there, you don't just see like Arab people. Everywhere you look around, there's gonna be Caucasians. You're gonna see Africans. You're also gonna see Arabs. So like I think just like America, where they have a lot of immigrants too, they speak English also.
Can I ask the like economy there? Like how rich were the cars though?
Honestly, most of them are sedans. Yes, but I gotta say, I feel like they're paid really well there, even for like a janitor, for example. You could be, straight up, you could be finding taxis, and the taxi driver is literally sitting on his hood, listening with his AirPods.
Damn.
Most of them, and the janitors there, even the janitors, they would be bringing a mop
Yeah.
while listening with their AirPods too. Bro, it's literally the meme in 2021, like where everyone uses AirPods.
Did you see any homeless people though?
Homeless people? I don't think so. I've heard a lot in social media that Dubai actually holds a lot of poor people.
Oh.
But personally, when I went there, I don't think I saw any homeless people there.
So it's a pretty nice and safe area, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just like what they say. You only feel rich until Dubai feels normal to you.
All
Alright, so you spoke about the achievements that you've gotten through this competition. Do you think that this will benefit much when it comes to earning a scholarship in universities or colleges?
Truthfully, I gotta say it might, maybe, but especially for public universities in Indonesia, I don't think it will benefit as much. Because firstly, universities here, they prioritize actual winners. I mean, it's number one. And I only got gold medals and silver trophy, which I don't know how they will grade that. And for me personally, as a person who takes the subjects of math, physics, and chemistry, I don't think this will benefit me as much later on, because the World Scholars Cup is more of a language achievement. not very something to sciences. Maths.
Do you know where you want to pursue in the future, or what degree you also want to pursue?
Right. For that, I personally want computer sciences and Universitas Indonesia. Yeah, I'm looking forward for the talent scouting and also the SNFFN, and that's the reason why I'm in SMA Negeri 7.
Alright. That's a pretty nice answer. Do you look forward, or do you have an intention to join any more competitions on debates and stuff?
As of right now, for me, a few competitions was enough to give me more experience. Because as of right now, there is still stuff that I have to prioritize, especially now that I'm part of the student council
Oh.
and that I'm in the basketball team. So I do have to give up a few things.
Like your trophies?
Well, yeah, like having something to win is already enough. But like contributing in other areas for me is also something that could benefit me in the long run. Knowing that if you're able to act in different areas, it's gonna be pretty nice to have.
When you went back to Indonesia, were like your other classmates there like cheering you or stuff like that?
Well, I gotta say, very small number of people know, and even if people knew, they wouldn't care as much, because they wouldn't know the gravity of the competition.
Did your school congratulate you though?
Yeah, we actually had a bit of a press conference in the Ministry of Education, and during that time, I had my principal there, and yeah, so I gotta say they did kind of congratulate me.
Okay. How about a sense of approval from your parents?
Well, I gotta say, not really, because well, they supported me in this, and of course they expected me to come back with results, and I think I may have, but again, it's all just mutual, right? They support us, we give them something back, and it's nothing more than that.
Right. Well, we know that you go to a public school now. What was it again?
SMA Negeri 7.
Right. But before that, you and I, your schoolmates, we were in where?
I'm sorry.
And that was a
Him too.
private school. Yeah, him too.
Yes, private school.
And how would you say is your experience transitioning from a private school to a public school?
So in middle school, I also went to public school, SMP Negeri 19 Jakarta, which is in the south part of Jakarta, close to my estate. It was very different. In an education standpoint, the teachers were very, you could say, free about your assignments. Like, they wouldn't care if you submitted your assignments or not. They would still give you grades. And they would give you grades based on who you are mostly. So like kind of how close you are with your teacher and how nice you are to them, or maybe how good you are when they see you. But also a factor is how you contribute to the school outside of studying, including like your extracurriculars or maybe even student council. Aside from that, it was very different, and the amount of people in the school. And public schools, particularly in 19 and 17, we had 10 classes of 36 students each, which means each batch has a total of 360 students.
That's a lot.
You multiply that by 3.
Right.
Oh.
That's 6, 12, 18. 1,080.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's one school, one building. And at 19, it was pretty small. It was just the average, what do you call this? Basketball field in the middle.
Oh, like
and the school covering it.
Right.
That's like the average public school, right? But like moving on to 70, it was very different. We had I think it was like, because it was a mixture of three schools, right? So like we had a lot of facilities there, and I gotta say each public school is different, but I gotta say 70 is different, not only in the standpoint of facility, but also in the terms of the student council, which is, I gotta say, very, I don't know, quite superior than other schools, other public schools.
Well, how about your switch from Cambridge to the national curriculum? How's that like?
Well, it was very different. In Cambridge, we were prioritized to study the English subjects. Then after that, we had to study extra Indonesian classes like Bahasa. Then we had Matematika as well. But then when you turn to public schools, everything's just Indonesian, right? And English was the only English subject there, and I gotta say it's very different, especially like
It's easier?
it was easier because it was a way level down because it's the national curriculum, right?
Yeah.
And you guys know yourself, right?
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
were middle school, so like you understand the transition there. So.
But being in Cambridge helped you with your debates and stuff? Does it?
Well, I gotta say it wasn't really Cambridge, but most of it was the teacher. Like our English teacher, remember Miss Elaine?
Yeah.
And she taught me a lot in how to think critically and writing essays, which helped me in writing my arguments later.
Right. That's nice.
Well, we know that you didn't just continue in academic competitions, but we also know that you were a basketball player. You still are a basketball player. Have you? What's your experience during basketball competitions and the difference between sport competition and academic competitions?
Alright, so I'm not a very, let's say, excelling athlete. I've only participated in the DBL competition last time for the South Jakarta region. I did lose against one of the finalists, and the preparation itself is very different. I've got to say, for sport-like preparation, it's more of what do you call this? It's more of being consistent. You got to practice a lot more. You got to really strengthen your physique. You really got to create chemistry with your teammates. And while for academic, it's really about what you've prepared for beforehand and what really like you studied before and the experience you had. So it's really a big difference in terms of preparation, consistency, and quantity of experience and knowledge definitely is something you could defer. Yeah.
For any kind of competition, whether academic or sports competition, would you say which one would you prefer in terms of fun?
These are fun, obviously sports, right? But again, consistency is really, you could say it's really heavy, especially that you really have to stay in school, you have to study. At that time during DBL, we were permitted to get out of classes. We were allowed to be absent just to practice, and we had to catch up with a lot of study. We had to catch up with a lot of classes. That really hurt in the area of education. But again, you do have to sacrifice something in order to gain something, right?
Yeah. Which competition, academic or athletic, gave you the most pressure though?
Most pressure was academic ones, like Scholars Cup, because it's more individual. For sports competition, it's more of a team. You could just make the team and rely on your bigger teammates.
Right.
But for academic competitions, you can never be in a bigger team. The team is always smaller, and the amount of skill really has to be applied evenly in academic competitions. Just like my trip in the World Scholars Cup, I wouldn't be invited to the team if I wasn't capable. Right? But if in the team you could literally play just 6 minutes. You could literally be subbed in, subbed out right away. But for academic competence, you have to really be there 24/7. You have to be graded. While in sports competitions, you don't even have to score.
Yeah.
But there's always an aspect of sportivity, right? To your teammates and stuff.
Yeah, but for my opponents, not so much.
Do you sometimes blame them?
Well, at that certain competition where I lost to SMA Muhammadiyah 3 Jakarta, I blame the refs.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fair. That's fair.
they gave my center a lot of offensive fouls for fronting. He was a big guy. Yeah, it was pretty frustrating. I almost got a tech for it. So.
Like you said, the more pressure was in the academic competition because you most of the time you'd have solo, but you have done academic competitions with teams before, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever felt like any of your teammates held you back in what you could have done?
Yes. A lot of times, having teammates who can't contribute as much, it really pushes me to become a better debater, become a better competitor. Because in a sense where you have the mindset of that, if your team can't do anything, you'll have to do everything. It really becomes something that it becomes a mindset to help you excel and help you become better.
Before, like entering competition, either academic or athletic, do you like sometimes pump up yourself? Like, how do you do that? How do you get revved up for a competition?
For competitions, I don't look forward on getting excited. I look forward on just focusing on the competition. I would straight up just like I would listen to music, anything calm, think about what I'm going to do later, and just set my mind into it. I wouldn't think of like trying to pump up myself too much. I wouldn't think about getting too excited because I know how confident I am, but I also know that overconfidence is such a taboo thing in competitions. So I wouldn't.
But is your intention to win though?
Of course, winning is obviously on top of my mind, but what's below my mind, what's mostly covering it up, it's the experience I could gain. Because if you don't think about what you learn from anything you do, then there's really no point. The one thing you should think about is what you could learn, so later on, with whatever you have right now, is what you need to win. So.
But when you, let's say you lose, do you have like a lot of sense of regret?
Yes, that is the process of learning. When you lose, of course, you have something to think about. You regret something, and there from those regrets, it becomes the foundation of what you're going to do on the next move. So, yeah.
Since you've joined multiple competitions so far, and we still have yet a year left until we graduate from high school, do you think that after joining all these competitions, was it all worth it?
100%. It's worth it. Any experience you have, any experience you get, it's worth it, definitely. You can really tell the difference of a person who hasn't participated in anything and a person who has gone through a lot. Like for example, during my journey to become a member of the student council, when I first wanted to go for a student council president, I went against the other participants, the other candidates for the student council. I knew I was the only person there with actual debating experience, and when I debated against them, they were so different from what I've become myself. They were very unorganized. Their answers were they're very mainstream, you could say. There weren't any answers out of the box, and their answers were going everywhere. While when I was there, as a person with a lot of experience, you could tell that I know my way into this. I know what's the strategies, and I gotta say that's why I'm very thankful for the experience I've gained so far.
Since we've talked about the inexperience of other people, do you think in the long term, future high school students will feel more pressure to join competition more, so that they'll be so that their experience will also help with themselves in achieving life?
Right. So, well, that's what drives me. Pressure of having to participate in competitions is what drives me most to be there. Because as we know, there are a lot of people out there with a lot of different experiences, and you need something that could defer you from them, right? You have to stand out. And that's mainly why people should or could be pressured later on in the world. Because as we know, for example, there is this thing called jalur prestasi, right?
Yeah.
Where we have to have something we can hold in winning competitions.
Right.
And not only competitions, but also have a good portfolio, which means that we have to excel or be good at something. And most of the time, grades aren't going to be enough.
Right.
So I really think that later on, high schoolers are going to be really pressured if they don't have anything they're holding.
Do you think this will affect the high schoolers' mental health negatively?
Yes, it will. A lot of stress will be built up because having to. I have a lot of friends myself from SM parents around us, where they had better grades than me, right? But what they didn't have was the resume of having to join competitions and winning medals. So in the end, they did go to, we could say, lower grade schools than me. They were worse facilities, worse educations, worse reputations, worse management. And so, really, as of right now, being really active and not just the aspect of studying is really pressuring for students. It'll cause really big stress, especially when the results you fought for, the results of like studying hard, won't be enough for you to move on.
Now, I want to talk about time. So, when you're preparing all your stuff for this competition, do you feel like you're lacking time to just have for yourself?
Yeah. So, me myself, I am a competitor. I like preparing for competitions. I like looking forward into it. But I'm still a kid, right? I still want to have time for myself. I still want to be able to play games. I still want to be able to hang out with my friends. And so it really does become a big factor in my life when I have to be able to start healing and start studying, also start competing. So it's really been a very shaky ride for me. I'm happy to balance it out.
How do you feel after after competing in a competition that you've prepared for a long time, and then taking break right after?
Obviously, it feels relieving. But in my experience so far, right after you finish competing, you don't have much rest. You have to keep preparing for the next one. So anytime I have for relaxing, it's already so much time for me.
How frequent do you join competitions because of that?
Well, as of right now, I don't join much competitions because I am pursuing more activity in student council, which still means a lot of time is taken. So From before, which I would take competitions every month for school competitions and parliament debating, or maybe even Olympics, which I specifically do in English because
Yeah.
we gotta say it's easy.
It is easy for us.
Yes, I mean English is my first language, so and preparing for those competitions, it would take a month during the pandemic, but right now it will take months. But I still would have no time factoring my activity and organizations and so on and so forth.
I want to ask you a question. Since with all this experience with English language, do you ever have a thought of becoming a coach or a teacher to other people aspiring to debate or speech, stuff like that?
Actually, for that, it would be very interesting, right? Being able to share the knowledge, being able to train other people. Obviously, it's very intriguing, but again, consulting other people, coaching them, training them, compared to like actually applying your knowledge on something, it's way below it, I gotta say, because it's more fun to like actually like do something instead of like being able to just observe people and tell them what's right and what's wrong. That's my personal opinion.
With your frequent use of English during competitions, does this also hinder your ability in using your mother language?
Well, I do go to public schools.
Oh, right.
Right. Everywhere I go, we speak in Indonesian. So, using English in competitions and everything, it doesn't really hinder me because my friends would understand me if I spoke English, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it won't hinder me as much.
Right. That's nice. It did hinder me though.
Me too.
You got 80 at bus finish. I got 60. But
Can you cut that out?
so nah.
Okay.
It's more of a handicap to me anyway. So having friends is like, and speaking in both languages is really helpful too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What else do I want to say here? You got your whole like future planned out. Do you have like a plan A, plan B type stuff?
Well, I'm not very, what do you call this? I don't really compromise in the future. So what I think my mindset is all about, whatever I can do now is hopefully beneficial for me in the future. So I wouldn't really care about what will happen to me in the future, because what's the point of thinking about the future if you wouldn't even know if you're alive, right?
Right. So right now you're just screw it, let's ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live in the moment.
Okay. Do you have like a idol you look up to?
Actually, I really don't.
You don't.
I don't, because I don't base my choices on anything, on anyone. It's all about what I'm able to do myself as a person.
Do you have like a rival though? Like someone that has the same experience as you, someone that can rivals up to you?
Well, no. If I were to see a person who was able to excel more than me, I wouldn't take them as a rival. I wouldn't try to compete against them, but I would take them as an example.
Do you want one though?
No.
Right.
He's picking a fight with you. That's what it
He's
is.
picking a fight.
Yeah, he's
right?
trying. He's really trying right now. You guys joined the same competition before, right?
Yes, I joined his competition.
The one that I held.
Yeah, the one.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
With the speech.
And how was it?
I was funny. I was too funny, and they didn't like me.
I gotta say, well, Lashkar did a really good speech there, but like, I couldn't compromise with the grades and stuff, right? It was all to the judges, so.
Oh.
I did the racism.
He,
No, it was an Asian accent. Like it was for comedic relief. I'm like that. I can never be taken seriously.
well, everyone's different, right?
Yeah, everyone's different.
Everyone's
They all have their you know.
And he
sense
almost
of-
qualified for the finals too. Anyways, he was like 6th place.
Was it?
It was
Yeah,
top 5, right?
it was top 5, and he was on the 6th place.
How many participants were there?
Like 25, 21. Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good.
And like from those competitions, you can really see how other people's debates or speech,
Yes.
you know, like their form of language and how they talk. Sometimes form also makes it up, right? The amount of movement you do with your hands. Yeah. It's all about the moxie.
Well, since we're all here, how about since you're still busy with your your student councils?
Yeah.
When do you think this will all finish up and you'll be able to join more competitions?
I don't think it will stop. Yeah, it will only stop until I actually stop high school, because I feel like committing into these kind of things are very sacrificial, and things, for example, like my competitions and my participation in other things. So being in student council is a very big thing, especially factoring in like basketball, for example. Like I would have friends myself in the basketball team who are in student council, and just like them, I sacrifice a lot of my time just to be part of the school.
Does it hinder you academically?
Well, personally for me, yes, because I value rest among a lot of things. While my other friends who are both active in basketball, active in student council, they're unlike me. They commit a lot of their time. They spend a lot of nights studying, while I prefer to stay at home and sleep.
So, with all that said, do you feel like you could push yourself even more?
Yes, but in this sense, the one thing that I shouldn't be sacrificing would be my health.
Right. Yeah. So it's rather you not, right, and then you just relax and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right.
I agree, because I have the same thought. Because you caring for yourself is also like more important than rest.
Right.
If you don't like doing the things you're doing, then why do it?
Exactly.
What would you say to anyone who would who have a passion in joining an organization that would wait, Mike speaking. Hello, sorry.
Now we can edit that out.
Nah, it's fine. We could put that in.
Right.
What would you say to anyone who have a passion in joining an organization or an activity that would also hinder themselves academically?
So all the people out there
Nice, yeah.
who wants to stay active in school, just remember, if the one thing you're sacrificing is worth it, but always remember to at least balance out whatever you're doing. And the one thing I gotta say is stay close with your teachers. Make sure you're recognized. Make sure you're acknowledged for what you're doing. So
Don't be a teacher's pet though. No one likes that.
that's true. Stay known, but not well too known. Keep a low profile, but
Not
keep
that low.
high impact.
Uh,
That's what I gotta say to you.
Exactly.
well,
Should we close?
we have 1 minute left. Is there anything else you want to say?
Not really. Aside from thank you for you guys for allowing me to be here.
Thanks for being here for us, man. We didn't really know anyone else.
Yeah. Thanks to our teacher for putting us up with this assignment too, so we can get to meet a friend that we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, it's really been a while.
It's really been a while. Yeah. We've been busy with a lot of stuff too. But yeah,
Alright.
that's all. Let's wrap it up, guys. Here's your podcast assignment, Mr. Nafan. See you soon.
It's been a good day.
It's been a swell day.
Alright, I'm Darius Adiba.
And I have ADHD. I'm Lashkar.
See you in the next podcast.
Right.